Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting video, and this is going to take us into, well, tomorrow, and I'm talking about Pokemon Legends EA. Do we finally have a good Pokemon game on our hands? It's kind of looking that way. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Yeah, I know. Is hell freezing over or something a good Pokemon game? In the year of 2025, are we officially back? It's kind of seeming that way. So we're going to go over a bunch of reviews about this game, as well as some inside stuff like the budget that leaked out. We're going to compare it to the last couple of Pokemon games that were on the Switch, and see, do we finally have a winner here? So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep this community growing. And let's go ahead and get right into this video. So the first thing I want to do is talk about some leaks that came out, and that was those big Pokemon leaks we talked about in yesterday's video. We also have the budget of this Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends EA, as well as the Generation 10 Pokemon budget. We're not going to talk about Generation 10 so much today, but I think it's kind of interesting. Pokemon Legends EA has a 2 billion yen budget, and that is around 13 million US dollars. I don't know how much it costs to make a video game, but if you're telling me you're making a game that's going to make like $1 billion and it's only going to cost $13 million, I would say that's a pretty good investment, all things considered. Now, when you look at the other side of that coin, you're like, well, that's probably why these games are not really so sharp and so well-rounded. Wait, how could it be sharp and well-rounded? That truly doesn't make any sense. That's why they're not great quality usually. I would say, this much goes into making the game, and then probably $50 million or $100 million goes into marketing, and that's with merchandising as well, and the cards and the shows and tournaments and everything else, right? The games are essentially just marketing for the cards, and the cards are marketing for the games, and the games are marketing for the shows. It's just this big Pokemon marketing circle. Now, in comparison, Generation 10, which is supposed to be coming out, I believe, next year, this has a 3 billion yen budget, which is around $20 million. So that is substantially more money. But we're not here to talk about that. What is going on with Pokemon Legends EA? So obviously I have not played this game yet, and I'm not going to lie to you guys and pretend I have just to get a review out. And the day this video is coming out, I will be on a plane at 8 p.m. going on a 13-hour flight to the other side of the world. And we'll see if I can find the game over there. But I don't want to buy it digitally, so even if I have to wait weeks until I'm back home, or about a month till I'm back home, I'll wait. But how is this game reviewing so far? Well, at the time of recording this video, on Metacritic, the game currently has an 81. That sounds incredible. Now, this is a Nintendo Switch 2 version I'm talking about. If we're being honest, I'm sure the Switch version does not look and run as good as the Switch 2 version, but I have seen some comparison footage. And again, if I'm being honest, it only looks about like 10 or 20% better looking. I can't speak from performance just watching the videos, but it doesn't look too much better. But I would say if you have the Switch 2, get the Switch 2 version. Now, this isn't just like 5 reviews that are making this round out to 81. That is 42 critic reviews so far. Now, we're going to compare this to every other Pokemon game that came out on the Switch's generation. And some of those might surprise you, but I want to read a couple of these reviews really quickly that are on Metacritic for this game. We have one that is a 90, and it says, with a well-rounded gameplay flow, seamlessly catching and fighting as well as smooth performance, Pokemon Legends EA is the best game delivered by Game Freak in the last 10 years. I mean, that is just fantastic to hear. We have another one that has it at an 80, and this one says, Pokemon Legends EA takes all the elements that made Arceus fun and refreshing and elevates them to new heights with the introduction of real-time battling system. And that's the thing that I think looks most promising. The real-time battles. I mean, if you grew up watching the shows and playing the games as long as we have, it always felt like that was going to be an eventual evolution. I don't know why it took so long, but I am happy it's finally here. This review has it at a 92. I'm sure of it, beyond its imperfections and the unfinished business Game Freak has yet to resolve, Pokemon Legends EA makes a first step in a smart direction, one that aligns with many fans that have been asking for over the years and shows particular respect for the legacy it inherits from the most successful franchise in history. I'm convinced we're looking at one of those special games, one of those 1 in a million experiments that end up working out. This time, Game Freak, you have my full attention. So I can go on and reading these reviews, but I'm not handpicking them. You know what I mean? This has an 81 on Metacritic right now. And I do think it's going to rise up over the next couple days. I could see it at least getting maybe an 84, 85, and that's awesome. But I want to compare this to recent Pokemon games that have came out. So let's just go in chronological order. I think I could have one of these messed up. But we'll go back to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This has a 72 on Metacritic, and that's 118 critic reviews, and a generally unfavorable user score with a 3.5. I will admit, I did enjoy Scarlet and Violet. I beat it in like a week maybe. I tried to go back and play it. I couldn't do it. I think I had just the excitement of being a new Pokemon game that got me through it. But trying to go back and play it, it just was a nightmare. I haven't tried to replay it on my Switch 2 yet, but I do know it looks better. But do I really need to tell you the comparisons of this to Legends EA? It sounds like we're in a much better place. But let's go back to a game that Legends EA is being built upon, and that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, surprisingly, this has a higher Metacritic score than Legends EA, but I do think they will probably even out or get close to it. Pokemon Legends Arceus has an 83 on Metacritic with 118 critic reviews, but it also has an even 8 with over 4,000 user ratings, and that is just so amazing. So, Pokemon Legends Arceus was strange because I did enjoy it. I almost didn't pick it up though. Like, I heard some reviews and they kind of turned me off because they were saying, you know, it's not like a regular Pokemon game. You don't really battle and you do this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? But then I played it and I kind of got addicted to it. And it was funny because in Pokemon games, I don't try to fill up the Pokédex. I don't catch every Pokemon. Like 9 times out of 10, I might only catch like 12 or 15 Pokemon, get my 6 that I enjoy, and I beat the entire game with them. Legends Arceus was interesting because it forced you to catch Pokemon to go to new levels, or new areas, should I say. And I think it was just really interesting, especially going back to the lore. You know, it's like the first Pokemon game chronologically, and the Pokeballs were cool. So it almost felt like more of a concept than a game, though. And this game got this high of a score with essentially a concept. So it seems like Legends EA is building upon this. Now, a Pokemon game that I did enjoy, and I think it's because I didn't play it on the DS, or maybe I did, I just didn't remember it, and that is Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I don't remember playing it on the DS, and I think the main criticism was they didn't change anything. And what they did is they like even took some stuff out, maybe, or something like that. You guys in the comments can let me know the main criticisms of this game, but I enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm actually looking for another copy of it right now. So I should do that if I can find a cheap copy. But this has a Metascore of 73 with 89 critic reviews, but only a 5.0 even user score. And like I was saying, I think that's because it was just no real difference than the DS versions. And I know a lot of people didn't like the art style. I actually found it kind of charming and cute, but I'm a nerd, so who cares what I think, you know what I mean? Now, I will say the pixelated graphics are always peak, in my opinion, but I did find it surprising that this game reviewed this low. Now, my favorite Pokemon game that was on the Switch the entire generation is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. This one is kind of strange, because we have a 79 Metacritic score with 84 critic reviews, which I think that's about where I would have this as well, but a user score of 6.4, so that's kind of a drastic drop-off. My personal opinion, I've beat Yellow, Red, Blue, I'm not even kidding, 15 times. I actually beat Fire Red for the very first time last year. But I've beat that generation so many times, right? I've beat Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee 3 times, maybe 4. I love it. It feels a little hold your hand-ish, if that makes sense. And I know it's an unpopular opinion, but in JRPGs, people like when your whole party levels up. Like when, just say your first Pokemon defeats somebody, your whole party gets experience points. I wish it had the same thing as the original games where like only one Pokemon gets experience points, because it forces you to kind of use some strategy and whatever. But I did like how Pokemon were walking around. I thought that was interesting. And I really liked that aspect. But then they had the whole like use an actual Pokeball to catch Pokemon, so it kind of felt like a little gimmicky. But I think it's a fantastic Pokemon game. And if you've never played a Pokemon game ever, I would encourage you to play this before jumping on Legends EA, even though there's hype around the game. I just think this is, in essence, what Pokemon games are about. And if you like this, play the other ones. If you don't like this, Legends EA is definitely not going to be the game to be like, well, you know, hey, I think I figured it out now. But let's go to the big Pokemon games on the Switch, or at least felt like the big Pokemon games on the Switch, and that is Sword and Shield. Now, again, I know it's unpopular. I really enjoyed these games. I thought they were really good looking. There's like a town where in like a little forest, and it's all like neon lit up. Very, very cool. There were parts of the game where I'm like, all right, I'm just doing this to get to the next part. Gosh, you know, saying all this and then thinking back on it, this actually might be my least favorite Pokemon game on the Switch, but I still enjoyed it. And I know I'm biased because I'm a Pokemon fan, but how else should you really review these games, right? I don't think somebody who's never played a Pokemon game, their review, I don't think should be as well received as somebody who's been playing for multiple decades. I know that sounds not right, but that's just truly how I feel. Pokemon Sword and Shield has an 80 on Metacritic with 87 critic reviews, but a general score or user score of a 4.8. So that is almost a 50% difference. That is crazy. You know what I mean? If I'm remembering correctly, I think the big criticism was there was like no more national Pokédex or something to do with the Pokédex. And then I think a lot of people didn't like the setting initially, which is based off like a English town or whatever. But I'm saying all of this to say we started off okay. We're still okay. Then we went down with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Arceus was a concept, an experiment that we thought was promising. Scarlet and Violet, I think the game mechanics and gameplay and core concept was great. I really liked the setting. You know, I've been to Spain before. I really, really liked it. But the delivery was just a nightmare. Pokemon Legends EA, like I said, I have not played the game yet, but going off reviews and gameplay footage, I think we're finally turning that corner, especially when you're seeing the leaks about the 10th generation and then stuff coming after that. There's something there to where you can kind of feel optimistic again. Yo, sorry about that. My camera cut off because my computer cut off. It's a whole thing. But yeah, Pokemon Legends EA, I think we finally have something that's for the real Pokemon fans, and we'll maybe get some new Pokemon fans. So in the comments below, let me know what you guys are thinking about this, if you're going to pick it up. Hit a like and subscribe. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep the communities growing. And you guys know me. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.